Have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
My fellow Americans. I suck, hey. I suck at it. Whatever. But, hey, this is Geek Public Radio right here on geekpublicradio.com. And if you can't tell from our opening, this is the state of the network address.
15 minutes ago.
I had a cheeseburger.
And some chili.
And it's fighting me back.
Yeah. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. What we're here to talk about tonight is, yes,
the state of the network.
What we've been doing the last year, what we have this year ahead of us, and all that fun stuff. So,
is it okay if I just remain sitting? I don't want to anger anybody if I sit down or stand up, or what the appropriate response would be here. I'm just going to stay sitting because you're sitting. We're just going to sit.
We'll just sit.
We'll just sit.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm not going to be doing any clapping or anything. There's not going to be anything to clap. We're not going to be complaining about that crap. We're just going to sit here and talk.
Well, we had our resident sitter, but he had to go home.
Yeah.
So
I guess he protested after all. Oh man.
So first off, what we've been doing the last year, we kicked this back off.
Yeah.
You joined the team.
Mm-hmm.
We did worked on some film stuff. We had we're getting ready to tool down to the last few segments of the anthology that we're working on with Rutledge Productions.
Mm-hmm.
So, which ate up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that. But a lot of shows. The Man Cave came back.
Mm-hmm. We started another one.
Kicked off Metal and Madness,
mm-hmm.
which has been going like gangbusters.
Mm-hmm. Really big in Germany.
Yeah.
I think the whole station's big in Germany.
Yeah, the whole station's big in Germany.
Hell, shout out to Germany.
Ich ein Berliner. Yes, I am a donut.
Yeah.
Ich ein bin Berliner. Or something like that.
Okay,
I am a
let's
donut.
stop before you anger anybody.
I am a jelly donut. I don't know.
Okay.
It's not my first language. Or my second. Or my third. Okay, the only thing I know off is from an Eddie Izzard skit, so.
Was he German?
No, he's English, but they, a lot of those guys, a lot of the people will speak French and German, and because they're all right there.
Oh, okay.
Unlike Americans,
we're all over here on our own island, so.
Unlike Americans, we have a hard enough time with Spanish.
Yeah. Well, there are some Americans that have a hard enough damn time with English. English, do you speak it?
No.
Yeah, there's a whole Samuel L. Jackson skit I can go into right now, but I'm just going to let it go. Let's just say it's a given.
But no, so we've had a great last year. We got things moving along. We relaunched the station to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now we're moving into our second year.
Got a magazine coming.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of stuff coming out, ready to go. It's just fun. I mean, there's a lot of people now moving in and out of this studio room, and
we just you started the dance hour or something.
Dance, but it's an experiment.
This is an experiment, okay.
So after the first month, I'm going to look at how our numbers, and if our numbers drop, it's going to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to reschedule everything back the way it was,
yeah.
And
as always, anybody that has any suggestions or requests or what have you, they can feel free to contact us at
submissions at geekpublicradio.com. After we got Metal and Madness going, it ended up evolving into needing its own website. So we had that. We put that out. Continually putting new articles on there as time goes on and whatnot. And that actually folded us into expanding a little bit further. So we're looking at doing a magazine. We're hoping March 1st will be the date that it hits Amazon, and it'll hit our online stuff. And you can either have a copies shipped to you, like physical copy, or you can go and
download it on your
download
readers.
it on your readers. So it'll be available on your Kindle or whatever Amazon reader that you want, and it will be a nominal fee because we got to pay.
Yeah.
Especially if it will be a little bit, but
yeah, price is yet to be determined.
For the paper copy, I think it'll be like $5.99.
Okay.
Something like that. They're $5. It'll be $5
Yeah.
because we'll just be a little bit shorter than just like by a couple pages of the ones you can get on on the sales floor or whatever on the racks.
Yeah.
And those are like $6.99.
Yeah.
So we're about $2. We're going to be about $2 cheaper than if you can go buy Skeptic or even the Taps magazine, which the Taps magazine was like almost $10 last time I went and looked for it.
Yeah.
But it's expensive to make this stuff. So
yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got it's going to be around $5 for the physical paper copy, and then it'll be like 99 cents or $1.50. I think it might be $1.50 to get it on your reader.
Somewhere around in there anyway.
Yeah, and and all that money comes back into the studio to help keep the studio running because it isn't cheap. We have so many podcasts now that we have to pay for our podcast space, and that's about ready to go up because we're getting to the limits of our space here now. We're like, oh, we'll never hit 100 hours. We have like 16 left.
Yeah.
And that's just a couple shows.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna have to incur that more cost. So and then and not only that, you're looking at now we're talking about giving writers money to help get more content, better content, and on the website and in the magazine and whatnot. And we keep moving forward, and we keep doing well. I mean, along certain aspects of things, like people are receptive of it.
Yeah, sure. And it's it's not easy. I mean,
being green.
Well, yeah, but doing everything ourselves. So that's why you got to get some writers in on it because you don't want to get burnt out or anything like that.
When you're looking at like 10 articles at 2,000 words each.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't just churn it out. Yeah.
And nobody wants to read me for an entire. They want different voices. They want different thoughts.
Right.
So that's how it is. But it'll be some interesting stuff. Like first edition, we're going to come out with. We're talking the CERN collider, the Mandela effect, time travel, and all that fun stuff. So that'll be interesting. And we have a little stuff like Spirit's Corner, where it's me going on about how we can rectify or how we can change paranormal investigation and make it.
More scientific,
and get it out of the rut of the paranormal television,
the reality TV feel to it, and make it a more like a respected process,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, I only went to school forever.
Yeah,
it was trained forever in the scientific method, and that's where I got actually frustrated with watching the task guy go, "Oh no, we're doing this completely scientific," and I'm like, I can blow holes through every one of your things. That your scientific methodology should not be one page in your book.
Yeah.
If you're going to sit down, it shouldn't be just 900 words.
Right.
Well, I don't even know if they I don't even know because a normal page is like 500 to 900 words per page.
Yeah.
In a book, in a paperback, and it barely felt like it. They had the space down, it had the title and all that stuff, and it was just that one section.
Right.
Like you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and you're magically scientific.
Well, and you got to look too. I mean, do any of those guys have a background in
plumbing? Yes.
Well,
science? No.
Okay, then. I mean, not to disparage them or anything, but
no. I mean,
you got two different approaches there.
They got people interested in it, and then people went out and said, "Well, I saw
thing.
it on television. I can do that too."
Yeah.
and it muddied the water a little bit.
Yeah.
Because everybody was more interested in that, and the people who were on my end of the thing saying, we need to set it down, and, we're building a house on sand.
Mm-hmm.
We actually need to build a foundation first.
Right.
There is nothing, there's no foundation beneath this. It's just, here's my theory, here's my theory, here's my theory. Like, there's no understanding of what it takes to build a science.
Yeah.
And kind of that's where I'm heading with this article. Like, the fundamentals of building a science.
Let's lay all this block and pray we don't have a sinkhole.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and even if you do, the next theory, next thing comes in and makes adjustments and fills that hole.
Mm-hmm.
The next approach.
Yeah.
Everything has to be, you have to start down here before you can get up to, well, ghosts can't cross running water.
Right.
Okay, you know where you got that? You know where that's from? And they go, well, that's what yada 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 says. Or, well, we found this and this, and it seems to be true. And it's like, well, that come from a Sleepy Hollow. Because the Headless Horseman can't cross running water. You know where he got it from? That was the folklore of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so you
folklore and science are not the same thing.
No, but you can take and say, this is the thing. This is the commonly accepted thing, and if you take the time to research your folklore and research your stuff, you can turn around and say, this is where this comes from. Here's strict correlation between this and this.
Yeah.
And then they modified that. Once I started pointing that out to a few people back in the day, I was like, no, that was like Nathaniel Hawthorne or whatever his name was. That I probably butchered that and way wrong, but
well, yeah.
It was just off the top of my head, but it was like that was from like a story and from folklore. And then they started talking about well, no, maybe the water builds up electrical energy as it passes over the stuff, like positive charges or whatnot, and that's supercharging areas, giving it extra. I'm like, okay, now you're starting to get closer to a theory and not folklore.
Mm-hmm. And we can measure for that.
Yeah, and then now that you have a theory, let's try to figure out how you measure from that.
Yeah.
But nobody's actually sat down and wanted to do that.
Because that doesn't make good television.
Yeah.
Because there you get back to the crux of it is that, it's reality TV instead of, a scientific method. You got two different camps. You got people that are, doing it for entertainment, the Zach Baggins or Bagans or whatever. You got the Ghost Adventurers, you got Taps, you got, you don't see, Lorraine. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. You don't see them out doing
Ed and Lorraine. Warren.
Yeah, you don't see
Lorraine Warren out there.
Yeah, I mean.
But that's the thing is it's one of those things. So that's where my not to go off on a diatribe or whatever, but because we can literally do a Metal and Madness show just on the foundations of ghosts thing and building up the whole thing. But no, we got that. So as you can tell, there's a font of I think I have 400 or 40 some articles already ready to go in for this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to bore you with 150 of them right on one thing. Though we might do a ghost thing, I might throw in 2 or 3.
Well, you got to make them stretch.
Yeah. So we got the magazine coming out, and that's great for Metal and Madness.
They've got another thing coming out, dude, don't they?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about Geek Public Radio.
Okay.
We are attempting to get a live podcast broadcast live at Gen Con as an event at Gen Con. So you can come in if you're there, check us out. We're shooting for a Saturday night at 7 p.m. Come into a little room in one of the hotels or whatever, and the mics and everything will be set up. You just come in and sit down, and we'll do a live podcast with, me and Sonny and
Who else we got with us?
We may have Jim with us from
Yeah.
Metal and Madness, But we sit there and we talk and do whatever. And we're going to play. The idea is to play a podcast bingo.
Yeah.
Anytime certain things, have different bingo cards, and we'll give away stuff from the first games.
Yeah. We might even have the guys from the Man Cave with us.
No, a couple of them.
Yeah.
But so the idea is get people in and get people interested and sit down and talk and have a good time. Talk nerdy. Talk about the con and what you've seen and what you like and
Right.
And play the podcast bingo and give away a couple toy things from
from the verse.
And just move in that direction. Be like, hey, so we submitted it. They've accepted our submission, but now it's in review.
Okay.
So it's been submitted. They haven't approved it. They've just accepted the submission. So fingers crossed. All right, and I laid the groundwork last year. Because I sat and talked to one of the ladies, and I said, "Well, this is what we're interested in doing." And she's like, "That sounds really cool." She goes, "And you're kind of talking to the right person because I'm in charge of event, stuff like that, and
coordination or what have you."
And I was like, "Great! So look for Geek Public Radio. We'll be submitting our thing." So hopefully the seed has been planted, and she was hopefully
she wasn't jerking us around.
Well, she was the one that kept talking. I was trying to walk away, and she kept, So hopefully,
bringing you back.
So hopefully that was a good thing.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah. Well, we should probably update folks on because we'd been saying there for a while that we were looking at doing the TV station.
Yeah.
So we should go ahead and give them an update on the status of that or what.
Well, the TV station is a little bit harder.
It's kind of in limbo.
The problem with it is we have to generate content.
Yeah.
We have some public domain content that we were going to fill time, and we have plenty of public domain content. Manuals of Fate, those fun just B sci-fi horror black and white movies that are public domain.
The Wolf Man, things like that.
Well, no, those
aren't public domain, but
like Manuals of Fate. But Night of the Living Dead is public domain because nobody, that's why everybody's rushed off to do zombie movies because nobody,
right,
forced that in. So Night of the Living Dead is public domain. But stuff like that, and we were talking about doing our own late night horror host style thing, and it's come down to space. Because we have this huge place, and it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
But we're set up here to deal with 16 that we have almost twice a month. So the space is now at a premium.
Right. We almost need a brick and mortar studio.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
Yeah. So we're in that grower or stagnate thing on that end of things. We need to actually, start bringing money into the studio in order to move to the next level, to bring the next level of stuff. So, if you want to see us, the goal was to try to get it on Pluto TV. So, we'd have, you have the Nerdist and stuff on there. You have Geek Public Radio on there, and you would see, all of these stuff like movies from the pit and, fun stuff from us and some other, along those lines, and that's kind of where we're stuck because of everything else that's going, the magazine, the radio, this, that, and the other, people's personal things, the lack of space, that's kind of where we're stalled.
Yeah, we're kind of
for the station.
Kind of in a holding pattern because life's kind of got in the way a little bit. almost got too many irons in the fire, but not quite.
and what the sad thing is we have the irons in the fire, so money will come into the station.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, as much as I know you try to help out, you want to help out, you want to do things. Jim wants to do things. Pat wants to do things. And try to help the station and whatnot. It all boils down to I end up doing everything that I can.
Yeah.
And as I'm doing this, I'm all my arms are out.
Right. Yeah,
so.
you can't shoulder anymore.
So, we've just figured that, this is what we're going to focus on, and some things are going to slide back until such time that we have a better location,
Yeah, things will fall into place. It's just a matter of time.
Right. I've never said that it was all going to happen like immediately.
No, but I'd kind of brought up, like, oh well, after the first of the year, we're going to be looking at starting this TV station. So I don't know that I necessarily promised it, but I had said, oh well, that's coming. So
yeah,
I thought maybe we should give an update on that, because I don't want to be accused of.
It's still there. It's still an idea. It's still something that we have everything geared for.
Right.
But it is something that we're going to need to bolster our infrastructure.
Right.
Going back to the paranormal day, we need to lay more of a foundation to support the expansion.
Once the radio station's good and solid, then we can launch the TV side of it.
Mm-hmm. That, and I'm still looking for software.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really hard to find broadcast playout software.
Right.
Like scheduling software, the whole 9 yards. That way, at 9 o'clock Eastern, this is the show that's going to play.
Right.
Yada, yada, yada. Here are the commercials, and they're going to run in this. Like we have that with the radio.
Yeah.
I know at 9 o'clock we're going to have 9 o'clock dance party.
Mm-hmm.
I know at midnight we're, as of right now, until this experiment either, cements it or we change it, Metal Mayhem starts and it plays till 4 in the morning. And that's something, we brought in Metal Mayhem, we brought in some other stuff, and so we're just trying to figure out, what works and what doesn't work, and feeling around. But you know what? That's the way things go. You got to figure out what works, what doesn't work. You get rid of what doesn't work. You make modifications, and you go with it.
And put out a better product.
Mm-hmm. It's trial and error.
Quality assurance. Quality control.
You know what I said? Is a line from Boondock Saints. We might not, or we not be doing business, but we're always open. So while I might not be heading in some direction, but I'm always ready. I'm always open to hear what somebody has to say.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like, well, you need to get rid of the 1 o'clock thing. Okay, what do you want me to put there?
Yeah. Don't just tell me the negative. Tell me what else you see.
I mean, we at noon we have the nooner. Everybody loves the nooner. Especially the line. The one jingle we have for it, where it was like, everybody loves the nooner.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the nooner.
Yeah.
Everybody giggles at that. So like the classic, 12 o'clock rock block.
Yeah.
Boom, that's the nooner. And then at 1 o'clock we go into like top 40 alternative music and this, that, and the other. Stuff that you'd hear on certain top 40 stations, and whatnot. And that plays until 4. And then 4 to 7 is just our regular rotation. 7 to 8 is 70s. 80 or 8 at 8 or 80s at 8. Then we got the dance party at 9. So, but if there's something that people want to hear, like if you want to hear us like kick over just like all 90s music at 9 o'clock, and then we'll just do decades from 7 on.
Yeah.
If you can, if that's something you want to do, and you think it'll get more, whatever, like, go ahead. If that's what you want to listen to, let me know. I ain't scared.
Yeah.
We'll make the change if I can get more listeners doing that. It just helps us as the station earn more money, so we can do this stuff to get into a new studio space that we allow us to do the filming and all the other stuff to grow.
Right. And it's incredibly open too. I mean, if anybody's got a request or suggestions, we're absolutely open to listening to it. And I mean, we're here for y'all. I mean, if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
So
it'd just be us on the podcast talking to us on the podcast, and that'd be it. We wouldn't have the radio station because nobody'd listen.
We know people are listening.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we get the numbers. We know there's a few of you.
Yeah. So. We're ground floor. You're ground floor here. You know, help us shape it into something that, you know. I lost my inspiration. I'm not a presidential speech. I mean,
but no. So we got a lot of stuff going on. We did a lot of stuff this last year. We're moving in a direction. We're actually like having conversations within the team and within the crew here about doing newer things and moving in that direction and making changes. The man cave's still a man cave. They've tightened up their ADD.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they're wanting to do that joust too, aren't they?
Yeah, they were talking about doing a jousting event with hover rounds and like big pillows on the end of or big punt or like those comedy size.
Like Hulk hand boxing gloves.
Yeah. Everybody has a helmet on and trash can lids for chest armor. It's like and of course my brain goes to let's film it. Not only do we do it, but we have to show people we're doing it. So
and we can do it for charity. We can find some partners out there. We might even get a hold of Rascal, see if they've got some old models they want. They were going to throw out that they can rewire and send it to them.
And put governors on them. All of them only goes 5 miles an hour.
Right.
You have to talk about safety.
Yeah.
So you have to have the ambulance on site.
The Zambonis of the Rascals and the hover rounds.
You're gonna die
in 5 minutes.
5 minutes. No, but so we're kicking that around, and I think Jim laid down the rules for the whole thing.
Yeah.
As we were just sitting downstairs talking, he's like, "No, somebody's got to write this down." So I just click the record button on my phone and
just start talking.
And just and so he laid down the whole kit and caboodle, and I think we've done our whole medieval style tournament. Because you have the jousting as one leg of it, and you have like the Nerf boffer weapon combat as part of it. And you can't use like real boffer stuff. It all has to be handmade.
Right.
To go with the Rascal hover round stuff. So you have to like PVC and pipe insulation.
Right. And
some duct tape. There's how you make your weapons.
Right.
Your shield, you're looking at like trash can lids or
tops of toters, stuff like that.
Yeah, that you make a chest plate out of the top of a toter or and a football helmet.
And I think he did say that people could use like paintball or motocross
stuff
armor. Yeah.
And
football shoulder pads and
you can walk in looking like the Road Warriors if you want to. We ain't gonna be scared. We ain't gonna do whatever. Like if you want to come in, the more spectacular you look, like like oh my god, you can walk in all Road Warriored out like oh, and okay, who are you, a Hulk or Animal?
I want mine made up to look like a repulsor sled. I'm going to be Jabba the slut.
So, we're talking about doing stuff like that, and of course that's going to have to be when it's warmer out. Yeah, so, we're in the groundworks of laying out just the rules for that. And then once we get the rules done, then we got to move forward. But I want to film it. I want to film it like a full-on like tournament style thing. We're like, okay, so we're here at the jousting. Like we show a couple of joustings, and then we film people duking it out and doing whatever, and then we have the third yet to be named thing, in the top points for out of all those get the overall champion, and then you get the tournament champion, and then you get like the jousting champion, you get the combat champion. See who can sneak through, do a whole rogue course, so you have like it's kind of like Ninja Warrior, but with rogue skills.
Yeah.
So, so you got to be a thief, so you go through the little maze thing that has all the
cowbells and fishing bells.
The fishing line with little bells on it, and like every time you break a line, it's a deduction. Every time you ring a bell, that's a deduction, and you have to go through it and jump over this thing, and move over, come over and then fire a Nerf arrow or whatever into like targets that has like holes in it and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that would be neat. Like,
Yeah.
you have like the rogue course, you have the gladiatorial combat, and you have jousting.
Yeah.
And you do it all in like cosplay, like not even that, but like in boffer LARP, like ghetto boffer LARP fashion.
However you can manage it.
Yeah, you come in and like I said, if you can have a like I have chainmail. I have a chainmail shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wear that, and I would put toter lids over the top for my plate, so I'd be wearing plate and chain.
Yeah.
And you want that would protect you from a big punching, a big boxing glove, oversized stuffed boxing glove, bopping you in the lance.
Well, and I think wasn't Bill even talking about making chainmail out of pop tap lids?
Yeah, they're like go all out.
Tabs.
Like I think that might be the third thing rather than doing whatever. Like
ingenuity in
your thing. So if like you step up in your armor, and you have all this really cool stuff, and it's all done out of scrap.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's like making a scrounge ability roll.
Yeah, and then it's like, all right, he comes in with like pop tab armor with this really cool look like chest plates and all this stuff, and like, oh yeah, that's cool. What do you make it out of? Well, I took toters and cut them out, and I did the pop tabs for the thing, and cut them out and spray painted them out. It's all been spray painted down, and it looked like, well, that looks cool, great, dude. You're you win.
Yeah. We'll have judges there to.
Yeah. So you like first, second, third. So you get 5 points. You get 2 points. You get 1 point.
Yeah.
And then then you look at the points from the others, and who wins gets tournament champion. So you got a little cosplay action. You got jousting, which is a lot of people is going to get into that. Some people are going to get into the fact that you're going to wail on each other with PVC pipes and foam.
Well, and let's be honest here, who's never wanted to bury a battle axe in their buddy's chest,
right?
At some point in time or another.
So it's there, and I think that would be fun.
If Daleville can shut down their town,
to Alexandria does.
Well, yeah, and Alec does it too. To run a go-kart race through town, we can get this done.
Right. I mean, we could do it at the school. There's plenty of room at the school, the fairgrounds, the park.
Mm-hmm.
Totally do. We just have to have insurance. That's the bad part about doing it in some of those locations is getting insurance and saying, "What are you doing?" Well, we're going to run hover rounds at each other.
Yeah.
But that's when you have sponsors and whatnot.
Yeah. There's bound to be plenty of sponsors that want to get on board with that. So I'm sure
it'd help if
people.
It'd help if like the hospital.
The Center for Mental Health.
But so it's one of those things. It'd be interesting to kick off, and it might be just us for the very first one of filming us doing silly stuff and getting out there and getting that part of the TV thing. Building up a repertoire of things for the TV side of things. Putting it on Gen Con, letting people see us be, reality sports.
Yeah.
Esports before the computer games.
This is the backwards, cheaper version of Full Metal Jousting.
Right, it's like Jackass meets Full Metal Jousting.
Jackhole Jousting.
But yeah, so we got that.
Yeah.
Along the lines of filming and doing other stuff, we teased it a little bit. Not only are we looking at doing the magazine, we're looking at doing a reality travel series for the Real Metal and Madness. And it'll be us going and checking out, because the core of it is metal music and the paranormal and, conspiracies and all that stuff. So it's like, as I like to say, it's like Coast to Coast AM with a lot of hair.
Yeah.
We got what they got and metal. So,
we have better bumper music.
So we're kicking in and we're looking at this stuff like we can hit all of these, because we started off, we're like, we need to start hitting some concerts and doing some stuff like that. And I was like, and there's these concerts all in these other, like, these towns and cities and this, that, and the other. Like, we could totally go from one to another and do a chain, like, the whole thing, but tie that into the rest of the show. So we're, filming of us going and checking out these metal things. We can't, because of licensing, we can't show
show the inside of the. So you would see us going up to the door, and
we would, like, us going there, like, on the way there, we would be talking about who we're going to see and what all that stuff is and where it's at, and you'd see us go up to the door and go in. Mm-hmm. The camera crew has to stay outside. So we get that part done. Then the next day you see us, because we're traveling. We're not coming there and going home.
In one day. Yeah.
In one day, it'll be spending the whole weekend or so in this town. So we go there for the metal show. We stay and check out all the creepy stuff, and you get to see all of the weird locations that are in these different towns and stuff that you might not be aware of, but other people are.
And although we couldn't show you the inside of the actual, like, metal concert or metal festival, at least you'd be made aware of it.
Right. And we're going to talk about who we listened to, whether it was good or not, and we'll be honest, like, they were good, but, yeah.
They'd done way too many drugs before they got out.
Right, but yeah, so there's that, and we're looking at doing, like, 8-episode first season.
Yeah. And
staying in the Midwest as much, as we, we're talking about Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Missouri, like the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Illinois, I think there was someone in Illinois that we're talking about kicking back into Indiana for Fort Wayne, and just stuff like that, and trying to get it, something that everybody be like, oh wow, look at like, I didn't know there was this in this town or that in this town, and so it'd be like Destination Truth, meet Jack and Ozzy.
Yeah.
Meets, Metallica or whatever, I don't know.
Jack and Ozzy.
A World Detour.
Yeah, World Detour.
Where they just go around and check out places.
Yeah. How many seasons does that run?
This is in there. They just finished their second.
Oh, okay.
I got addicted to it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I watched that thing. It was like that and The Curse of Oak Island. That was like my go-to forever. Like, oh, I haven't watched TV in like
Templar show,
a month. I haven't watched TV in a month. I get like a whole bunch of episodes to catch up on. But yeah, so that's what we're aiming for with that. So whether or not that gets off the ground is another thing of logistics. But
no, yeah, that's another issue with logistics and getting everything together and getting it all ready to
make
go.
sure people are
time
off
and because some of
money
the stuff's
for the
not
series.
just on the weekends. Some
right.
of them,
a lot of the stuff that we were looking at was like Tuesdays, Thursday,
Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't have thought that would have been.
And when you have some of us, some people who was out of state during the week, come in and then some of us are putting in for like overnights at the local radio, just to make a little extra money of doing the radio, another radio, working at a radio station. There's just a whole lot of stuff that, you got to worry about getting this person's time off, matching with this, matching with who's playing and where they're playing, and can we do it all logistically, and get a camera crew that will be able to support us, running around and do the filming, because it's not going to be the same if like we are sitting there and trying to do it ourselves, Yeah. Because I don't know too many people that are going to want to watch a show that where it's all done with handy cams.
Yeah. Well, we'd be getting people motion sick too. I mean,
right.
You don't.
Well, I mean, there's going to be. We're all going to have our own cameras.
Yeah, we'll have our own cameras. There'll be GoPros in the cars, and
yeah. So you're like everybody has their own little handy cam that we film from our perspectives, and you have the crew that films us.
Yeah.
So as we're sitting here talking to the person leading us through the area, like giving us the history of the place and the hauntedness of it, or whatever the conspiracies behind it or whatever we're looking at that area. They're telling the story of the place, and we're checking it out. And we have our own stuff that we will cut in and out of, but we have an actual camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's actual professional grade stuff. It's not,
right? Yeah,
that's
something
it's
I'm
not
happy
the
about.
JVC Handycam.
Well, no, we will each have a JVC Handycam. Mine's sitting over there.
Well, yeah, I'm just mean that.
But no, the rest will be done on television grid. In fact, the cameras that we have for that are all cameras that people shoot. That people shoot commercials and stuff on, and you see it on some of the reality shows. Is like the guys walking through and doing this, and those are the exact same cameras, the exact same lenses. So
yeah,
it happens, but you'll tell the difference between like the HD Handycam and like the commercial grade.
Yeah, yeah, imagine so.
But I mean, well, they're all going to be HD, but it's just a matter of and those little Handycams, for $100, they do pretty good as long as it's not low light.
Right.
Our cameras
are better.
Won't function, or they'll function better in low light, but they won't. Yeah. So we may have to have somebody Hollywood a spotlight for us.
Oh yeah, well
the sound guy's doing this.
The other end is balanced like the thing from Amok Time. And one end's got one end got a floodlight on it. The other end's got the sound boom. Yeah.
But I don't think we can do that because unless it's an LED light, there may be a hum carried down the stick into the sound boom.
Okay.
This is the same like as you're holding a sound boom and you move, you might not hear it in your headphones.
It still gets picked up.
But it still gets picked up. Like if you shake, all that stuff.
Yeah, I could never be a sound guy then.
But so that's the idea.
That and the fact I'd stand there and be like.
So what you can expect from this coming year is, like I said, we're working on the magazine. We're working on a series. We're working on getting the GPR brand out there more with like Gen Con and in conjunction and that type of stuff. We're working at trying to get more of a foothold into the rest of the thing. We've kind of not wanted to do some of that. We kind of like, but now I think with the shows that we now have in our stable, we're looking at building some other stuff.
We were worried about overextending too.
Right. But now we literally have 3 shows. Mm-hmm. And each show is filling itself out outside of me and you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have the man cave, and I was like worried that I'm the producer on the man cave, so I talk on it, and I'm on this, and I'm on that, and I'm like, but you look at that, and like those 3 guys talk a lot. I will literally mute my mic and take off.
Yeah.
And go take care of stuff and come back and be like, okay, you guys, we're on ready for a break. Come on.
Yeah. And
they're fine. They move along. I can step out of the metal show because now, not only is you got Jim and Eddie, and now you're looking at Aaron coming in and doing that.
Yeah, he'll come in for some stuff. Yeah.
So there's other people there that,
Yeah.
So it'll be back to, not having to worry about carrying the load on certain things.
Right.
Where I can actually go and say, leave this station for a minute, like even if it's just midnights, and run over to the local radio station and do over there, and then come home, sleep, get ready for the show stuff here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time on the radio.
Well, and I might be able to help you out with that, doing, just learn the command chair and stuff too. So, because I haven't been on that side of it yet.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
It's a lot of moving around and hitting this button over here to do stuff over here with the things that were there. But
I'm sure it's just different terminology, but it's probably not a whole lot different as far as multitasking wise and running a housing unit or master control in a prison.
No,
I mean the multitasking wise, pretty similar. What things do what? I imagine, or what's different.
Yeah. So, but so that's what we're here. Like you basically got the rundown of what we got in the past, what we did the past year, what we've moved into, what we're looking for into the future. If there's something you want us to do, if you think like, hey, you should try this, you should try that, you do whatever. Submissions at geekpublicradio.com. If there's something you don't like, you guys suck at geekpublicradio.com. There we. Praise us or scorn us. We have an email address for each of you.
Yeah, give us feedback because we appreciate you guys, listening to us and putting up with us and what we're doing. We're doing it for y'all. Ground floor or something. Yeah. Let's make it better.
Yeah, it seems like every time Geek Public Radio builds up, something happens and we go back down and we build back up, we come back, but this is the actual time that we have so many to fall back on. There's so much stuff that that even if we collapse, even if it falls, some stuff falls off, we're still way ahead of where we started.
Yeah.
So
we've got a better foothold now.
Yeah, and it only took 5-6 years, but
there's a lot of bullshit that went around in there too. So. Yeah, there's a lot of, and I think
there's a lot of people who, I want to do that, and they were great, and then they just disappeared.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And then there's others who, life came in, and they had to start doing stuff that took them away, and I am the rock in which all this is built.
It would,
but then I'm looking at working at another radio station.
It would be different if it was a paying gig, but this is all volunteer, and we do it because we like doing it.
I still do, I haven't made any money off of this since we did it, but you know what? I like sitting down and giving a chance to get behind a mic and just say, hey, did you see this new show? Yeah, that was great. Jumanji, that was hilarious. I loved it, that type of stuff.
Well, it's a lot better when the station's self-sustaining, too. And
that would be.
Put money into it. If it's making enough to pay for itself,
I'm still waiting on it. It did that before we had to close down for the CBR rates went ridiculous. We were paying like $20 a month to be legal.
Yeah.
Then that went up to $200 and something to be legal.
Yeah. So
we had to close. And we lost our station. We lost the studio space that would have allowed us to.
Yeah.
You would have never gotten up there.
Right.
Because it was the second floor of a big block brick building.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful because we had office space, we had studio space, and we had filming space. We actually filmed Flickr there. We filmed whole big scenes in Richard Watson's files in there. In the same room we filmed Flickr. We just moved things around and staged the room, and it was wonderful. We could have green screened the one thing and did a whole bunch of stuff, and we had time and the space and the effort and people in and out working to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
When the CBR rates hit and that increase came, we lost all that because we weren't we were making enough money at the time to cover that, but not the new stuff. So It went away. I kept the podcast going. Changing staff, changing people. I think we even did a couple live podcasts from a strip club.
God damn it. I'm laughing. I'm like, you know what? Son of a bitch.
We went in there early because we knew the management. We over on the VIP couches or whatever is where we sat and did the show. And as soon as we ended, the girls were walking by us and talking to us, and they were doing whatever. And then when we ended the show, we ended it right before the
first acts took stage.
Yeah, it was right before the music started playing.
Oh, okay.
So we, we're here talking about, live from Hoosier Girls, da 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 da, and the girls are walking by, giggling and laughing and saying, we're like, hey, get on here, talk, what do you like working about here? What do you like about working here?
The money.
And they're just like, oh, it's a nice place, and
the money.
They were all nice about it, and then we'd sit around and drink and talk to the management and whatever afterwards, and it was an every Monday thing for like 3 weeks, and then we slid away from there and did some other stuff, and then reality came in, and we were down for a couple months, and then you came along, and said, yeah, I'd be interested in doing that. And we picked up again.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, I wasn't doing anything else at the time.
So, in fact, I was looking. I said, well, after you, after the state thing, you're just kind of like. I said, you now have the time. Would you be interested in doing the podcast?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. So, voila. But we yammered on. We've actually went over our time, but
that's a State of the Union. Everybody goes over.
So, like I said, now you see that what we got coming in the future, what we've done in the past. Hopefully, you can be with us as we move on and keep on. And next year, around January, February, we'll be making another State of the Network, and we'll talk about all of the cool stuff that we saw, and then when you will be able to see the series, and when you'll be able to check some of that stuff out. So, this is me, Topher.
Little Sonny.
And we will see you later.
Dun, 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 dun.